Trevor Cutmore. Listen, working with properties can sometimes be a difficult journey, and if you've got to climb through certain obstacles to get to a place where you can make sure you're doing things properly. I haven't heard a lot of conversation about this over the last 12 months at all, and obviously with COVID coming and everything changing, things have been very difficult. But in 2018, the Home Act was announced, the UK Home Act was announced. It was set into motion on the 20th of March 2019, came in with a bit of a whimper really, to be honest. It wasn't really, smashed out there so people could understand what was going on. But it has put more responsibilities on landlords such as myself and you. What does it mean? Well, basically there are four main areas. One is air, one is radon gas, one is volatile organic compounds known as VOCs, V-O-C, and as it's plural, S, VOCs. And the last one, which is, what's the last one? The last one is, I've got it down here, is, oh yes, the temperature, which is extreme, cold or hot in the property. So let's deal with each one. So with the air, we're talking about damp and mold. Now this has always been a serious thing for landlords, and much of that is to do with ventilation. So, a lot of people, when they come into property, if they haven't got any sort of building knowledge or property of the materials or knowledge of a property, I've seen many people not know the difference between damp and condensation. And yet condensation can be easily remedied by putting in a vent, or making sure people are opening their windows, or even leaving the windows slightly ajar where they're locked as well for security. But that's really important. So even if it's condensation, if you're getting a build-up of mold, it's quite a serious thing. Mold in properties, especially over the last, I don't know how many decades, people who are living where there are spores of mold, which is caused by damp, are 40% more likely to develop asthma conditions. I've been an asthmatic since I was very, very young. And I've had that all my life. I'm very fortunate. I've been to hospital a few times with attacks, but it's something that you've got to be careful with. And so you have a responsibility for your property. I have some good news for you towards the end of this video, so watch. But with damp, with mold, you have the responsibility to make sure that that is not overcoming and overrunning your property. On top of that, mold and damp actually degrades organic material. So if you've got it in your wall and it's seeping down into your floorboards, guess what? That's where you get dry rot from. These are all, other products, but it can rot away your pipes, it can rot your floorboards, joists. You can have so much more damage. So I know a lot of landlords will turn a blind eye. Oh, it's a bit of damp, it's not a problem. It needs to be dealt with, and actually the sooner you deal with it, it will cost you less money and it will be better for you. Because of this act, tenants now can take landlords to court, because the part of the UK Homes Act is to make sure that properties are fit for human habitation. And if you're lacking in any of these 4 points, which I'm telling you about today, you can be taken to court, and then the court will give you a court order to fix it immediately, and they will look at any compensation that is necessary to go to the tenant for living in a property which is unfit for human habitation. So again, that's quite a serious thing. And this is just, we're looking at damp mold. So if you've got that, get on with it. It's easily fixed. By ignoring it, it would just get worse. If you have a tenant in the house and they're doing all their washing, the washing machine's going, and they've got no extractor, then put an extractor in. It's, again, if you've got double glazing, put it in the top window. You can go and get a new thing, with an extractor in, and you're going to vent it out and you'll stop the condensation. And remember, if the mold is being caused by condensation, that's down to you, because you're not giving the right information. And all this information is now in the How to Rent booklet, which you have to give the tenants anyway. So if you're getting this wrong, you're in danger of them taking you to court. Interesting one. The second one, radon gas. What is radon gas? Okay, radon gas is a natural gas which is, I think it's everywhere, but there are greater hotspots around the country. You need to go online, check where your properties are, look at the hotspots. If you're in a hotspot, then you should be monitoring this. They reckon that 4% of properties where there is radon gas seeping through to come inside the house, and this is all to do with being inside the house. If radon gas is coming inside the house, they're saying that it's responsible for 4% of lung cancers. 4%, about 1,100 people who have contracted lung cancer, they reckon, has come due to radon gas coming through the house. It's a horrible thing. So again, how do you detect that? I'm going to come to that at the end of the video. I've got good news for you. And then the thing is, you see, you're probably thinking, oh Trevor, how am I going to check for damp? How am I going to check for the radon gas? And then the volatile organic compounds. What is that? That's a really good question. What is it? When I first saw it, I thought, my goodness, what is it? Well, it can be the cleaning fluids that you're using in the property. It can be the smell that is given off by the new furniture that you've got in there. Paint, the paint that you're using, if you've been painting or treating anything, or chemicals. And let me tell you, there are thousands of different VOCs. All right, they're called VOC, small s, VOCs. Thousands. How do you check for them? Good news I've got for you, but it's not cheap. Okay, well, it's not massively cheap, it's not massively expensive either, but I'll tell you how you can do this. If you're a landlord, this is something that you need to monitor. The thing is that if you have even, you know, overwhelming smells, or radon gas you won't smell, how do you know that these are not affecting your tenants and making your property inhabitable for humans and safe to live in? You might be causing an effect, whether it's respiratory or anything else that people might get. So it is a very serious responsibility that we have, and we've got to do this correctly. And the last one is excess cold and heat. I've seen this many times, and I've talked with many landlords about this. I think the biggest problem, not so much that I've seen in single let properties, because the single let properties, the tenants are in charge of their heating. So again, you can't legislate if someone's living in a single let property and they want to save a lot of money in the winter and they don't want to put heating on, they're living in the cold. You can't, they have the ability to keep it warm. Okay, if they're trying to keep it warm and you've got drafts everywhere, you've got single pane windows and you've done nothing about it, at least put secondary glazing in, because again, it's not fit for human habitation. So these are the things that you've got to look at. If it's a personal choice by the tenant, but they have the ability to keep it warm, then that's one thing. But if they're trying to keep it warm and it's freezing cold, or if you make it red hot, which, you know, in a single occupancy property, it's not really going to happen. Where it comes down is on HMOs, houses of multiple occupation, and this is where you'll get 3 or more people living together. They have their room, you know, it could be 5 or 6 people in a house, and they've got room by room. Okay, now they do have control of their radiators. It should be controllable in their room, but what I've seen, okay, is that some landlords, they lock away the control and the boiler so no one can get there and turn the heating on. So what many landlords do, and they are wrong for doing this, I can tell you now, it's against legislation. You must not lock away the controls for the heating in a house of multiple occupation. But you're saying, Trevor, the thing is they leave it on 24/7. I've seen it. I've seen that myself, and I've had it. I've had my own properties where I've been in the middle of summer and the heating's on and they've got the windows open, and you think, hey guys, because they're not paying for it, they don't care. Now you can put it on a timer, you can check it with Hive and put it on your phone and check. Or what some people do is they give people an allowance. They work it out what it is, the time to do everything, and they give an allowance, and they put the thing on a meter, and they say, look, we'll pay £200 for the electric and gas for the month. Anything over that, guys, you're going to have to pay for. You've got to make sure that it's fine and it's accessible and everything, that it's enough heating for them. Don't put them on a really short budget. You've got to think people are working different hours. Some are working through the night, some are working through the day, and they're living top and tail with each other. But you do have the responsibility to allow them to put the heating on whenever they need to. So in an exceptional cold spell, to think that you've got it locked away and you're not going to allow them to have it, I'm sorry, but that is wrong, and you're not giving them a place to live that is fit for human habitation. And this is the UK Homes Act, something that every landlord needs to be aware of. I haven't seen a lot of it about, but that is really what you've got to look at. Now, just go back to the VOCs again, okay? You can get that looked at, and there's a thing called a photo ionization detector. How about that? That's what it's called. You can buy one of those at about £100. They would detect about 500 different types of volatile organic compounds, and it will give you a reading. You have to send it off. There's all these different tests and kits. I've got good news. So let's go back. So with the mold, you can get a detector for the mold, the damp, and the radon gas that you'll put in, and you send off. You put it in for 3 months, send it off, and they give you the results back. There's these other things you can do for your VOCs, no problem. Same sort of thing, you put it in much shorter time, send it off, it goes to a laboratory, it gets tested, and then you get the results back. However, there is one, okay? Again, that one's about £100. There is one, and it is called the Air Things House Kit. Air Things House Kit. Now that measures everything for you, except for the heat. I don't think it does the heat for you, temperature. You'll have to gauge that. You put, just make sure people have got heating, because if they're in excessive cold and can't put it on, that's really because someone's locked it away, and you cannot do that. But the rest of the things, the damp, the mold, the radon, and the VOCs can all be done with this Air Things home kit, okay? That costs about £300. You plug it in, and not only that, you get an app, and it comes out on your phone, and so you can see everything, so you can get real-time data of what's going on. It's a clever bit of kit. Do you want to spend £300 on each house? It could be quite costly if you've got a lot of properties. The thing is, I know what's going to happen. I just want to give you heads up. What's going to happen is we're waiting for the first test case that someone's going to be taken to court. I don't know if it's happened already, and be prosecuted under the UK Homes Act of 2018. When that does happen, everyone's going to be running to get hold of these things. Listen, it was just to give you information. Please comment, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. Gives you a good bit of information. Have a great week. May God bless you. Bye bye.